of 16 regions in this country. Is there nothing we can do about it? Is there something we can do? What can we do about it, right? And I said, that's a very, thought-provoking question you've asked me. And I think a similar sentiment was shared on my platform on Pan-African Television. Maybe we need to begin to have that conversation. Maybe we are simply refusing to appreciate the fact that we are at a stage in our political enterprise where, that conversation must be had. Whether we need to change the constitution, some portions of it, to allow for some of these changes to happen, I don't know. But I think that we must have the conversation that it cannot be that only Ashanti region and Eastern region determines the fate of 16 regions in this country. So maybe the number of regions you win should determine whether or not you've won an election. Maybe I'll continue with that conversation this morning. Maybe we'll have, varied opinions on the matter here on the morning show. But let me introduce to you quickly the topics for our conversation this morning, as sent to me by Bless Headman Alomaso. So if the topics are not nice, blame Bless, not me. Anyway, police fire tear gas as crowds call for Ruto to resign. And yesterday I saw, the mammoth, thronging the streets of Nairobi, demanding for the resignation of William Ruto. I don't know. So it's not just about, so it means that it wasn't necessarily about the finance bill. It's just that they don't want to see the guy there. You be young guy, you came and promised us so many things. You've come and you are doing X, Y, Z, right? So Ruto has taken some very important decisions which should have changed the mindset of the people, but it appears that the people are hell-bent on seeing the back of him. So we will discuss that here on the show. Legislative instrument on MP siren withdrawn. I agree. And this morning I heard one MP who was saying that then we should withdraw the bill on the cement pricing or stabilization pricing or something like that. I think Abuja or something like that. Is it NDC Abuja? And Abuja is NDC. That was a very useless comparison.
That's how
very, very useless comparison. When you see him, tell him that I said what he said was very useless. Because that one affects the generality of the Ghanaian people.
So you support the price control then?
Why not, bro?
Absolutely.
No, I'm serious. No, I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm serious, and I'll explain to you later why I think that we should have that conversation. And why I think that, because you see, it should flow from something, I agree. Okay, but the fact that there's an increment in, let's say, clinker, does not mean that the cement manufacturers should increase their price for, let's say, 15% or 20%. It is not determined. That determination must be had.
We'll have that conversation.
Legislative is Napo heading to Nkrumah's hometown with apology. Elembele DC announces meeting with family. Senate Hotels, Bruha, organized labor have shown they are powerful. Organized labor have shown they are powerful. I've joined the studios by Apia Dankwa. Good morning. You can't disagree with me all the time, my friend. I accept that. What I'm suggesting is also good.
I disagree vehemently with you. Vehemently.
Why do you disagree with me?
I disagree with you vehemently.
Why?
Because of the dangers of price control. You see, and let me take the opportunity to wish your viewers a good...
let me introduce Subaru. Good morning.
Good morning.
Michael, good morning. Now tell me why you disagree with me.
Then you see, beyond first of all, what are the dangers of price control? Mm-hmm. One, it is counterproductive. It is counterproductive. Mm-hmm. One, it kills industry. Two, what will invariably happen is there'll be a black. You create a black market. The need for a black market. Mm-hmm. And thirdly, there are solutions to these problems that the minister is not averting his mind to. Mm-hmm. You understand? Have you heard of antitrust? Mm-hmm. Antitrust laws. You see, because his argument is that the price is being pushed by a cartel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. Now, if that's your view, then it calls for you, the minister, using your power of policy to push through antitrust laws. But what antitrust laws is that it fights against, or it promotes competition, fights against monopoly and all. But to revert to price control, something that we ran away from in the 80s, early 80s, as the means of fighting price increments. Also, why are the prices of cement up? The price of cement are up because of the failure of government to use its power of monetary policy and fiscal policy. Well, how can price of cement be low if your interest rate regime is about 29%? How can price of cement be low when you have inshallah exchange rate? But these are issues that are within the purview of government. Yes. So use, instead of going back to an as in the dark ages of price control, why don't you use your power of policy? You want to push antitrust laws. You have to push antitrust laws because you, the minister, you are saying that the reason why the prices are up is because of a cartel. The solution isn't in price control. The solution is in you pushing laws which will prevent the ability of cartels to be formed in industry. Two, you are government, for crying out loud. You have the power of fiscal policy. Why don't you use that power of fiscal policy to boost or what's called more business people entering into that space than to be thinking about price control? Let me tell you, the minister, you are not thinking. You are not being creative, because price control should even come up because of the evidences of what price control does to the economy. Because for crying out loud, you see, the benefits we get from cement business industry also includes job creation. And so if you are going to push price control and all the evils that we know about price control, then you're also going to impact job creation. It should even cross the mind of the minister. That's what I'm saying. That one, if he's saying that he wants to fight a cartel that are monopolizing that industry, then it calls for the minister to instead push antitrust laws. That's why he's minister. We should push antitrust laws. Price control shouldn't even come up.
But you're creating the impression that price control is all well and negative. How can, because when you see, you protect consumers when you do that. When they say, hold on, because you see, senior, the thing is that I agree that, I mean, once you are unable to manage your tax regime, okay, the resulting effect is that you would have some of these exigencies. But what I'm saying is that if you have some price control mechanism, and then you say that, okay, for every increment or for instance, for every drop in the tax regime, right, it should result in, let's say, 1% increment on all goods and services. That works. But this one is not controlled because
I'll give you a solution. That's if the minister doesn't know, this is very technical. If the minister doesn't know, he should go and ask experts. I'm telling you, the solution is antitrust laws. That's the solution. We shouldn't even be having a debate on this. The solution, you shouldn't even be thinking about price control. The solution is in passing antitrust laws. We have just one consumer protection law in Ghana, and then a number of antitrust laws in various laws, just one clause. If you are the minister, you want to boost business, and then you have a situation where the cartels, beyond you even using your power fiscal in terms of the tax, push for antitrust laws. That's what I'm saying. Just push for antitrust laws. Push because you are the minister. So if you feel you don't have, I understand, maybe you won't have all knowledge. But for crying out, they are experts. Pay some more money, let them advise you. That when you want to protect the consumers, then the solution is in antitrust laws. It's so fundamental. The solution is in antitrust laws because
and you can't find a middle ground.
Antitrust because we don't have Ghana. We don't have very strong. The fact of the matter is that, and I'm sure when you progress in practice, you will realize this, that we don't have a very strong antitrust regime in this country. We don't have. It's just about the consumer. Even the focus of the consumer protection really is to protect against people using your IP, as in your intellectual property and all. But the focus of our consumer protection, it does not fight against competition, proper competition. It does not fight against monopoly. And if you want to build the kind of economy that will create jobs, then people in authority should start thinking about creating a body of antitrust laws in this country. That's the solution. The solution isn't in price control. That's lazy. And understand why Abuja will compare the two. Because also that LI is lazy thinking. So we have a problem with rapid deployment of people into town. Is the solution in this in passing this LI? You have rapid response. You have power. What prevents you from them pushing a rapid transport system? Let's say in terms of bus, in terms of tram, in terms of railway. You are government. You have the power. You understand? So, I understand why the MP is comparing the two. Because what the MP is trying to say is that you are being lazy. There's a problem. Instead of finding a solution which is long-lasting, you understand, which can be beneficial, you are thinking about the easy way out. And that easy way out is just temporal. But the long term, to even create more problems for the economy.
Yeah, but
you understand? So for me, you see the way I'm shocked, because for me, price control should even cross your mind. Where we are, and we have evidence of what price control has done to economies.
Oh, but I'm saying no. But in as much as they are, I agree. But in as much as they are negatives,
I'm talking to.
In as much as they are negatives,
Katie Hammond. It's not I'm talking.
No, but it is not. It is not.
And for you, after me and you will just meet outside. If there's some small change of familiar people wanting to creep, I'll take it out immediately. But there are some things shouldn't even be mentioned amongst us where we are as a country, and one of those things shouldn't be mentioned. But you see,
I agree. But you see, the thing is that right now, the uncertainties and our inability to even project, you understand, by reason of all of these fluctuations, is why I'm actually advancing this argument. Because and I agree with you, right?
About your government.
But the thing is that if government is failing to do what it's supposed to do, and every other person is struggling and things that I don't think that we'll be able to.
That's why you are government. Yeah. You understand? First of all, you have an inflation regime and inflation system, which presupposes that things go up because we have plenty money. That's what you think.
Anyway,
but we all know that in Ghana, interest rate goes up not because we have plenty money. Because you see in Europe, the reason why they increase the interest rate when what's called is because really there's too much supply of money. But in our system, since inflation goes up, not because we have too much money. You should know that. And so, even though the books have told you that, listen, when inflation is going up, you curb it by increasing in interest rates. You should understand the peculiarities of our economy and realize that in the contrary, where our interest rate is, it even kills productivity and that inflation because we don't produce anything here.
All right, let's go
take this from one side. So
let's go to Kenya.
That's a topic for
let's go to Kenya. Do you agree that what has happened in Kenya must then happen in Ghana by reason of the very things you are talking about?
Ghana, we missed an opportunity. Let me wish my brother Subaru, we are not meeting at the base because the fundamentals are not fundamental. I must say, it's always a pleasure to be in Michael's company. I think Michael's one very, very sharp.
Do you guys also have a base?
I think where I connect with Michael is I think is in the power of his intellect. I really respect his intellect, and I think we've met twice here, and it's always been, as we not agree all the time, but it's always I've come with the winners. But tomorrow he's my brother. We are not fundamental in it. But today I'll come there. Don't worry. I think we missed an opportunity on Monday. You see, we've spoken a lot about, and I'm sure you are both lawyers. My brother here is in Parliamentary, so you understand the concept of limited power and all the good that limited power does to any system. And we know that in school we're taught that one of the tools in achieving limited power or constitutional democracy is in separation of powers, and that when you have a strong parliament, you have a strong judiciary, then they serve as what checks on each other, and then we can have. But what the books didn't tell us is that when it comes to our bid to limit the government of power, the powers of government, and the biggest and most powerful tool is the tool of the people. That if there is any group of people who can limit abuse of powers or a loss of focus of government, of the use of governmental powers, then is the people. And I think what's happening in Kenya is telling those of us in Ghana, you understand, now, about the power that the people wield. You see, when we talk about American history, the way we mention Kwame Nkrumah, we mention the Brexit. America also have their own. In fact, they call them the founding fathers. The founding fathers, and then they mention Washington. I think everybody, we all know Washington. I'm sure I like mentioning Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton. He wasn't born in America, but you can't talk about the founding fathers of America without mentioning Benjamin Franklin. Talk about Thomas Jefferson. And that name that you need to also mention is Madison. Now, I mentioned Madison because of something he said. Now, Madison had an opportunity to speak about limited powers. where he spoke about the need for us to control government. Then Madison, after making a very beautiful analysis, came to a conclusion that the most powerful tool to control abuse of powers or government is the people. And so if you want democracy to work, then there is an obligation on you, on all political institutions, and certainly also the executive here. And last I mentioned the media, and you understand, to have a populace that is informed. Also, when they are informed, when they understand what they are doing, when they understand the kind of powers they are even giving to government and the kind of obligations that lies on government, then they can serve as a check on government. And because we are a republic, if you understand that we being sovereign and the public being the people, then you understand that we are the most powerful group of people in this system of governance that we have. In fact, in all systems of governance, the people. Because people, history after that, the people have been able to topple monarchs, like happened in France. You understand? In America, American Revolution happened because the people refused to pay tax to the monarch, King George. Now, where the people we give government to, we give power to, and power emanates from the people, have proved to us that they are using the powers we give to them to advance an agenda which is adverse to the agenda of the people, then a fundamental break of trust is occasioned, which then means that the people who are governing immediately will lack the legitimacy to still wield those powers, because they've breached the trust. Also, give them the powers for a purpose, but they've breached it, and because they've breached it, then they do not have that legitimacy to continue holding that power. And that's what is happening to Ruto. And that could have happened in Ghana if, for strange reasons, the trade union hadn't backed off. Because I've said this without number, that what Brian Champo was doing constituted a fundamental breach of public trust. The trust will be reposed in him, that use these powers, our powers, to protect our interest. And immediately you start using those powers to advance your personal interests. Because if that does the meaning of state capture, sometimes when you say talk about state capture, we think state capture means you are fiscally buying. But state capture is when the reason why you are using your powers shifts from the interest of the people to your personal interest. Then it constitutes a state capture. So a lot of things that has happened, a lot of things the president has done. Appointment of people who were perceived to be EC, to be MPP members onto the EC. The president sitting down and watching his interim minister to say that he's going to give 30 slots, security slots, to his party people, parliamentary candidates, that consider the breach of the public trust. Statement the president himself made, which seems to suggest that his ability to fulfill his obligation to us will be premised on whether or not you voted for his MP or not, an MPP MP. That was a fundamental breach of trust. And the president sitting down aloof and not saying anything and watching on, as his minister, cabinet minister, attempted to purchase a property which belonged to all Ghanaians, that constituted a breach of trust. A breach of trust that took away his legitimacy to govern. That's my personal opinion. You understand? And if we had regard to the power of the people, like the people of Kenya are having now, then that strike, the strike we attempted to, the organized labor attempted, should have ended immediately. What they quickly reverted. That is the thinking. Because if you, the minister, you do not understand or appreciate that you are barred from attempting or from bidding to partake in any tender that includes or that is about a purported sale of property which belongs to a state, then means that you are not competent to lead. You are not competent to lead. You understand? And so, and also, I'm glad that we are lawyers here. I know my brother is just a step away, but it will happen. You understand? But you see, when you do company law, directors, the obligation of the directors, You see that they are not a fiduciary. They are putting a institution of fiduciary. When you say fiduciary, what do you mean? It's simply that if you are in a fiduciary, it's simply that when you are taking decisions, then because you're in a fiduciary, your sole consideration should be what is in the interest of my shareholders or of the company. That should be your obligation. So the directors of SNIT, because SNIT is a company, a pensions company owned by the government of Ghana, by all of us. Then when they were taking, if they are taking any decision, their fundamental consideration should be, what is this decision in the interest of the country? Immediately you do not have recourse to those considerations, then you don't have a reason to be there. You understand? And so the strike should have ended because suddenly they realized, as in the light of the article that the chairperson of the board wrote, we sought to justify this fundamental breach of that trust. Then the strike should have ended there. It should have continued. It should have, because they are not competent to be there. They've breached that trust. And that's what is happening in Kenya. Because Ruto, by attempting to push down their throat laws which were going to make their, as in fundamentally breach the economic promise of democracy. It meant that for them, for the people of Kenya, Ruto had breached that trust, for which reason he is there. And so for them, they are not going to wait for, is it 4 years? That Ruto should step down. And I think gradually the people of Ghana should realize, because you see, in Ghana, Nana took an oath. Presidents should understand that when you become president, you are not guaranteed of finishing your 4 years. And when I say guarantee, I'm not talking about just death. Because you took an oath, which essentially said that it constitutes 2 parts. The first part constitutes 3 parts. That you are going to be faithful to Ghana. 1, that's the first thing he said. 2, that you are going to preserve, protect the constitution of this country. And 3rd, you are going to dedicate yourself to the well-being of the people of Ghana. You are going to be fair to all manner of Ghanaians. Then you took a second oath, which said that if you breach any of these 3, then you are going to submit yourself to the laws of Ghana and suffer pain as a result of that. Now, what that means is that if the president breaches any of the oaths he took, then the president himself is swearing that he's going to submit himself to the laws of Ghana. Nana has breached all 3. He's breached all 3. I'm convinced in my mind that he's breached all 3. And by reason of that, he has no business being there. In fact, he breached it when he told all of us that he does not have the solutions to solve our economic problems. Now, if he himself said that, then what business does he have been there? Because it means that he said that he does not have what it takes to advance our common agenda. So then what agenda is he pursuing? Then he's pursuing his own agenda. But we do not put him there. We do not give him all of our powers so he pursue his personal agenda. And that's why I think that on Monday we missed an opportunity. It's not about us and it's not about the president, but it's about creating that culture of accountability, that culture where leaders will understand that they are there because of our pleasure, and that if they flout any of the reasons why they are there, then it is our obligation to get them out. And that is not unlawful. And that's not unconstitutional. Within the confines of the Constitution, we can get them out when they immediately start using the powers we give them in a manner adverse to the reason why we give them those powers. And unless the people of Ghana understand that this system we've taken upon ourselves will not work unless we take active interest in it, then we'll reach a stage where this system will then become an albatross on our necks. Because people we give powers to will use those powers to trample eventually on our rights. Come on, what sense does it make for a system we created that has one of its fundamental principles being the rule of law, which is that we are all equal before the law? For MPs to even attempt to pass through a law that says that they, because of the reasons of they being MPs, have the right to flout laws that are meant to protect all of us. But that's what we are getting to, because they've kept on using the power that we're giving them in a manner which is adverse to our interests, and we've sat down and we are looking at them. They know that they can give us money and we'll vote in a certain manner. And so the spirit of that constitutional democracy we talk about ourselves is being killed, is being slaughtered on the altar of parochial interest. And we, the sovereign, we are sitting down looking at them, and they are forgiving, they are fooling. I think we should look east. We should never look, we shouldn't look west or east. When I say east, I mean East Africa. And study what is happening in Kenya and understand that the way things are going, the time is for us to start thinking that way. That we have the power, we have the obligation sometimes to stand up against government in a constitutional manner. And that when they use our powers in a manner which is adverse to our collective interest, then we can get them out without breaching the constitution. I think the time is now for us to think that way. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. 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 Let me remind viewers that we are streaming live on Facebook. Kindly share the Facebook feed so that others can get the opportunity to watch today's morning show on Pan-African Television. Also, we are streaming live on YouTube. So for those of you who may also want to watch us on YouTube, you can easily do that. Let me come to Supari on that, on the Kenyan issue.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kwame. And let me use this opportunity to say a very good morning to your cherished viewers, most especially my constituents. This Kenyan issue, Kwame, like
before you go on, something happened on another platform yesterday, in which
that was on Monday.
On Monday.
On Monday, yes.
I think, and you were involved in that matter. My name also came up. I
Yes,
issued a disclaimer yesterday. I've had no such conversations with Saka, for which reason he will use me.
Saka says Saka says I am arrogant, and that yes, so, can you imagine? Because we're debating the arrogance of his running mate. Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Saka is my friend. We have conversations, but we've never had any conversation.
I just knew Saka was lying as usual.
Yeah, so please proceed.
Yeah, so thank you very much for that disclaimer. I didn't bother when he actually said that. Sadly, I know myself, and many people out there who have come close to me understand the person I am. I've never any day trying to show any arrogance. I'm not that type. I know my background and where I'm coming from. So this Kenya issue, Kwame, I agree with my brother, lawyer, for all the comments he's made with regard to the Kenyan president, what is currently happening. But to some extent, I don't support what is currently happening in Kenya. In the beginning, I actually supported them when they demanded that the financial bill should be dropped, which was dropped. The man even went ahead to dissolve his cabinet. He's here to form a new cabinet. Many of the things that they asked has been adhered to, and so for them to move further to ask for the man to step down, I think to me, it is not the right thing to do. Governance is about carrying the people, and so if you the citizen of Kenya, you have spoken your mind that this is what you want him to do as a president, and he didn't say that he wouldn't listen to you. Unlike ours, during the e-levy days, the whole country was against it. People spoke, people demonstrated, yet the government stood on its ground and said that they were going to implement it, and they went ahead to implement. In their case, it's not like that. It was dropped. The man even went ahead to dissolve his cabinet, not even a single minister, is still in office. He's here to form a new government. At least they should give him the benefit of the doubt to see moving forward how he's going to run affairs, because this is like a warning to him, and he has listened to your warning. He has apologized by dissolving his cabinet and promise you that he's going to do things the way you want it. They should have just exercised patience and give him the benefit of the doubt. Let him form new cabinet. Give him some few months, in a year time, probably. You would then evaluate to see, to just oppose that to the previous cabinet and how he used to handle things before this whole, demonstration started. But to further demand that he should resign, to me, they are going to, but because we know it is democracy and we are practicing democracy. Though they have the right to demand for his step down, he also has the right. He hasn't, commit.
But have you asked yourself why they are asking for him to step down?
It is same reason.
He has blood on his hands.
Yes.
He has blood. You can't take the life of people and expect that you continue to govern.
So I'm coming.
That's. I think we must get to that point. You have blood on your hands.
Yes, he has blood on his hands. The security did not protect the protesters. They rather tend to, there was no for the blood aspect. I totally condemn it. Whoever that is exercising his constitutional right in terms of demonstrating, it is the duty of the state to ensure that that person is protected. No life should have been lost, but unfortunately it happened. So that's what I'm saying. As part of their, demonstration, they should be calling on investigation into the matters, probably be calling on some head institution. I know he's the head of state, but they are even better. Look at what is happening in Ghana for the past 7 years. The impunity, the disrespect, the disregard of our laws, how people run our country like their personal business. In fact, Kwame, even your personal business sometimes, when I sit and ask myself some questions, you cannot run your personal business as the way let me visit, the current government is running this country. In the past, I just cited e-levy. Several other, policies were implemented that people didn't support. People came out to demonstrate, yet they went ahead. Look at what happened during election 2020. People were trying to protect ballot laws, were trying to protect their votes. Look at what happened at Tesla. About 4 people lost their life. Up to date, not even a single investigation that has been conducted. Nobody knows anything about who were the perpetrators, who really caused that, heinous crime. Yeah, people, so for Kenya, I was saying that, yes, we need to commend the citizen of Kenya. I was happy, I was excited on Friday when I saw that the organized labor, the trade union, all other working class in our countries stood up against the sale of the hotel. It was something that was commendable. And I said, I was sitting somewhere with a friend, I said that if organized labor has started this thing years back, at least even 7 years ago, at least, I don't think would have been where we are. If they have stood on their grounds to let the government know that, yes, you are the president, but we kept you there. And so you cannot be doing things the way you want to do. Because many things happen in this country that really landed us where we are today. Many policies were implemented that shouldn't have been implemented. People kept quiet. Look at what is happening at the EC. My brother rightly mentioned when party, people who are known, not alleged, who are known party members of the New Patriotic Party have been recruited to an institution that is supposed to, see to our our elections affairs in this country. An institution that is supposed to be independent, an institution that is supposed to be, neutral. You recruited your party, members of your party, people who held position in your party to be part of the commission. All of these things, people were quiet in this country. I expected at the time that all these things were taking place. The organized labor, if for nothing at all, the organized labor should have stood up and said, no, we will not allow, because mind you, Kwame, if this country today is in chaos, if you are the general secretary of TUC, I don't think you can get your position back, because everything will be disorganized and will be starting afresh. And so when people are taking decisions that has tendency of causing the peace that we are enjoying, Kwame, if you have a power that when you speak, your comment can cause the change that you and I are yearning for, please don't hesitate. Do. So I was expecting them to have come out to, to demonstrate. I commend them when it comes to the Senate issue. But then I was expecting them to, they should have given up, because to me, it's like they gave up early, and the government, knowing the kind of government we have, probably moving forward, will not take them that serious. They will say, oh, after threatening, they will come. They'll come to the table for us to negotiate. Because you said that this board, one of the demands, I remember after Monday, they wanted the board to be resolved. As we speak, the board is still in place. I even made a comment somewhere that as part of the demands, that some top management, if for nothing at all, the Director General of Senate ought to have been fired. They should have demanded for his removal, because if you look at ever since he became the Director General, everything about him, the decision he's taken as far as the Senate is concerned, are just basically, I don't know, a decision that do not have any better future for the organization. And so if you have a Director General like that, what do? You ought to fire. They spoke about the hotels not making profit. I disagree with them. So for instance, we are in Pan-African television. If Pan-African television is not making profit, so the best thing to do is to sell the organization. Is that the best way? So Ghana, we are not making any progress. Should we sell the country because we are not making any progress? We must change the leadership. And so every organization, when those that are in charge, those that are in charge of taking decision for the day-to-day running of the organization, if things are not happening well, if things are not going the way you want, what you do is that you change the leadership. That is why we are calling for the change in this 2024 election, because this particular government has really led this country to look, it's like we have been retrogressed to about 10 years ago. Ghana 10 years ago is even better than Ghana today. KWAME, today, just yesterday, fuel prices were increased again. And no coming days, transport will go, they will increase transport fare. All other goods and services prices will increase. Yet the salary you are receiving 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, it's same salary. Look at the exchange rate today. Nobody is talking about it. So these are fundamental things that, as people of the country, we should be concerned with. They should not. When I say people of the country, the trade union, because they are the chant, they have the power, they can seize this country, they can do anything they want, demand for any legal, thing that they want from the government. If they say that we are not going to go to work until ABCD is done, that must be honored. If they say that we are not going to go to work until some taxes are reduced, that certainly government has no any other alternative than to listen to them. But I mean, many of these things happen in the past and they are quiet. Right. And so just back to the Kenyan issue, I still think that probably as a president, if they call on the head of the president, yes, there's blood in his hands, because many people lost their life through the demonstration. Yes, he's the head of the state, but I think that some investigation can be conducted to see the particular security men who were in charge, what really happened, who ordered for the shooting, if it had to do with shooting, who ordered for the tear gas to be, and all of these things, so that those individuals can be punished for the act. But at least the president has shown remorse. He has shown that he's ready to work with the people of Kenya. He's ready to carry the decision. He's ready to carry the ideas. He's not going to work with his personal vision, but he's going to work with the vision of the Kenya in general. And so he should be given the opportunity for a second hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. I'm coming to Michael shortly, but there's something that is happening which I think I should bring to your notice. Over the last 1 or 2 weeks, we have been trumpeting this issue of state capture, and we indicated that in the northern region, particularly Tamale, we have some MPP members who have bought all state lands, almost all of the state lands in the northern region, particularly Tamale and its environs. And we're just bringing that to the notice of Ghanaians that is what is happening. I think there was one issue relative to the prison service, I think their accommodation or something like that, which apparently has been sold. So Okujeto was the one who spearheaded that expose. This morning, I'm just reading on a number of the newspapers which states that Mahama sold state capture lands. Jenapo exposes a black-white hypocrisy. This thing about comparison and all of that, sometimes I find it very nauseating because we voted for the MPP to be in power, assuming without admitting that even that is what the issue is, right? The situation is. We voted you to come and correct the wrongs, not to come and further exacerbate, the challenges of the people. But we'll come to that subject matter. Let me come to you, Michael.
Right, so thank you very much, Kwame, and good morning to my colleague panel members and our viewers watching us from home. A mixture of issues, and sometimes it becomes very difficult where to begin. What is happening in Kenya clearly is what is supposed to happen. And I would explain. I have a couple of friends in Kenya, and so we keep talking, often on the happenings, in fact, who are part of the protesters and part of those organizing the protest in Kenya. And sometimes I explain their behavior within this theory called the frustration aggression theory in conflict management, where when a society or a group of people are frustrated for long and the opportunity comes for them to vent, they vent with aggression. And so you wouldn't think that the mere withdrawal of the finance bill should be enough to satisfy or to quench the anger that the people of Kenya indeed want to express. Lawyer talked about the fact that this should be happening in Ghana. And I agree, that's true. But again, I begin to reflect on what perhaps may be the common denominators or the point of departure in terms of our consciousness as a people. So you take the Ghanaian youth, you take the Kenyan youth. How is their thinking, regime, and pattern like? How do they view society? Do they feel connected to society? Are they connected to even colonial struggles of old? And do they still find that connection relevant? Take the Kenyan youth today and take the Ghanaian youth today. Indeed, you can even project it to the sub-regional level. Take ECOWAS as a whole. So you talk about Ghana, you talk about Nigeria, you talk about the countries located in ECOWAS. Take East Africa, take South Africa, and weigh them within the prism of colonial struggles. And it will be clear that those from Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, are still connected to the roots of the struggle. And so they understand what it means, and they know where they've been coming from, and for that matter, why they have to protect what they have. And so when you see the young people of Kenya today still demanding for more, there is a meaning to that. It is not just a mere matter of Ruto saying, okay, you requested for me to step down on the finance bill, I've done that, and that's enough. But they are saying, no, this is not what our forefathers struggled for. We are still connected to that root. Unfortunately, in West Africa, some of us expected Nigeria to lead the way. We've seen a couple of protests in Nigeria, even in their recent elections, where Obi came and was basically galvanizing support from young people and all that. We thought there was some renaissance, but completely missing as we speak. And so it's, in my reflection, I was like, okay, well, you even look at education. What are the various avenues of socialization of the young Ghanaian? How do we perceive society? There is a complete disconnect. And so when you weigh what is happening now in Ghana and the way political leaders perceive young people, and you imagine Ghana in the next 10, 15, 20 years with the status quo, Ghana in the next 10, 15, 20 years, there wouldn't be any country. I come from the development community. We engage a lot. And mostly we say that democracy has for itself tools that we can use internally to remedy the ills of democracy. So when there are challenges, you wouldn't go outside of the democratic parameters, but within the parameters, you can find tools. And demonstration is one of the, most commonly used tools in a democratic regime to ensure that you remedy the situation. Now, asking Ruto to step down, clearly for me, is proper. And I support the youth of Kenya. It is, you see, you have civil society organizations purporting to represent the interests of young people. You have state agencies parading as representing young people at international conferences here and there. And young people do not feel a part of the governance today. While you two kept talking, I kept reflecting. So I know there used to be a time where when government wanted to engage young people as a group, you know that your rep may be on the board representing your interests as young people. Before your rep even goes to engage government whatsoever, your rep may engage you. What are our concerns? But that thing is no more happening. It's missing. You go to the National Youth Authority today, and it's a partisan corridor. So National Youth Authority is not a reflection of the general views, expressions, aspirations of the young Ghanaian today. So everything has been made partisan in this country. So young people do not feel a part of the process. We don't feel connected to the collective, work that we all have to do to build this country we call Ghana. There is one thing that we must all agree, and which is non-negotiable, that under no circumstance, and Kwame, there is a reason why the so-called developed countries, when an American is kidnapped anywhere, or a Brit kidnapped anywhere, or anything happens to a French anywhere, the French government, the American government, the British government would ensure that they go to the extreme ends to ensure that the citizen is protected. What we have in our constitution, where we talk about the welfare of the people and the responsibility of the executive to ensure that you seek for the welfare of the people, a citizen should not be killed because of power. Our concept of citizenship is contaminated. You see, the soul of the country is the citizen. It's you, Kwame. You have no other country. And so if we voted for you as the president of the republic, or even through the processes of your election, Ghanaians must die before you are elected. And the president is sworn in. Until now, 8 years into his regime, no single statement to condemn what happened in 2020. It is high time we agree collectively that these things are non-negotiable. We shouldn't step down on these things. And it is same happening in Kenya. Many are dying. And so the youth of Kenya, honorable, are saying, listen, you can't be president. Our comrades die. And simply because we are exercising our displeasure and demanding for what is just, because we are partakers of this democracy. It is indeed our democracy. Indeed, we have more to lose as young people because Kenya lives forever. And we live to face the future. You have the opportunity to help design that future for us by the power we've entrusted in you. So our bargain, our interest in the collective aspirations of young people and the future of Kenya is even higher than the president or his cabinet ministers or whoever. And it's unfortunate that with all that has happened in Ghana, organized labor must wake up, indicate that, of course, they are going to be on strike, and for that to now begin to prickle government, and then for the executive to begin to respond. And sometimes I find it difficult, and I say this without any reservation, that I have been terribly disappointed in organized labor. Not today, and not for the recent action of withdrawal from the strike whatsoever. Ever since the Akufo-Addo government commenced in 2017, lackadaisical. What they fail to always realize is this: the ordinary worker you claim to be representing, and you think it's all about going to the boardrooms and negotiate on their salaries and conditions of service or what have you. All these matters around conditions of service, salaries, blah, 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 are all affected by the external environment, the economic situation of the day. And what that means is that you should be on the watch out on government. How does government spend? Because in the long run, it will come and affect the salaries of workers. Is government being reckless? So when government says they are going to National Cathedral, I expected organized labor to be up to say, no, we're not going to allow this. Because whatever government does has a rippling effect. And I think it is perhaps high time we begin to have conversations, and they may be ideological, they may be philosophical, that what does it mean to be organized labor? What is our original mandate? Many things in this country have been diluted to the extent that we've normalized so many things. And that is also what has created the disconnect between young people, between the ordinary voter. So as we, so a lot of things running through. And I was like, okay, so we are here having this conversation. The ordinary Ghanaian must be awakened to know what is happening. I would have expected NCC to be on the run now, educating Ghanaians. I mean, what the Constitution says is so sacred about the welfare of the Ghanaian, that every Ghanaian must know this. In their classrooms, they should know this. In the churches, they should know this. In the market squares, they should know this. That it is the responsibility of the executive to ensure that your welfare is protected. It is not the responsibility of the church. And that is why sometimes when you see the tax exemptions, the waivers to the church, it is because the executive, the politician understands that, listen, the church plays some form of buffer role for me. You go to church, and the things people pray about are things that you expect government to be doing for them. Socio-economic needs, where we all pay taxes, and the taxes must be used by government to ensure that they build our roads, to ensure that they provide scholarship schemes. So if you go praying for money to pay school fees, what it means is that government has failed. But the church is there to absorb the pressure. And that's the system we run. I think it's high time also the church, in the days of old, the church used to be strong. The voice of the church on developmental issues is not what we are seeing today. So there is a lot that have been normalized, which shouldn't have been the case. You see, Kwame,
go free for me.
My challenge is the extent to which we are gradually creating a classic society. And I know we'll be having conversation on this siren thing. And it's more of using the largesse of the state by those who have control over the public purse to basically calm the nerves, to water down the anger, to sometimes even obfuscate the issues. And the media, I keep asking myself, what have been, so several actors sleeping, and it's a big challenge.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Michael, for that submission as well. You're still watching the News Programming segment here on Pan-African Television. My name is KWAME OWUSU DANSO. We are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, so you can share your views via those platforms as well. Let's move on and discuss other matters. Snit Hotels, Bruhaha, organized labor have shown their powerful is coming up shortly. Napo heading to Nkrumah's hometown with apology. Elembele DC announces meeting with family. My challenge with this, the selection of the topics, is that, bless, next time do better. Mahama's story has not featured, Alan's story has not featured, and I don't think that we should spend time discussing some of these irrelevant matters. Napo has stated his position, he's made it known to all of us are aware what he genuinely perceive, his perception of Nkrumah. So why should we bother ourselves with whether he's rendering an apology or not? That is a non-starter. So next time, please, when you're picking the topics, pick sensible. I'm sure Alan is still talking. Alan is still talking.
You should have also have some.
No. He's intelligent enough to know what stories to pick.
You should have gone into
So next time, let's pick sensible stories. No, it's my brother, he's my boy. Don't worry. It's not me tonight. I'm serious. He knows that this is also part of this. Yes, I'm picking out today. I'm afraid I'm not picking for this story. Topics.
But it's not his fault.
I understand. No, again, I think that your party and NDC should do better, because it appears that I've seen nothing on Alan.
Listen,
I've seen nothing on Mahama.
No. It's not matter party. I think last time, not when we were talking about, I think essentially, Mike and myself, we stand. I think we agree that for the people to play their role, then they need to be well informed.
Yeah.
Now, see, there's a media cabal in this country. Because I always say the media, in my view, not everybody, a majority of the people in the media, I pick this disappointment. And see, when history is written about how democracy failed in this country and is failing in this country, one of the key enablers,
the media,
will be the media. Yeah. Because you see, last week I had an interview on CTFM. This one I mentioned the person granted by interview around 5:30 to 6 o'clock, where the MPP guy, a question was asked on the MPP communicate, as in the director of communicator, that he should tell us where the 1D1F, where the factories are. And the director of communicator had issues with that question because, so far as he said he had, one day the media, in his view, is something, this is not about opinion, something that you can go around and find and inform the people. And secondly, they've also given them that information. So he didn't see why they were asked. And the guy's response was, yes, he knows where they are, but if they want them to, then they should come and buy airtime so that, no, that means that you, the media person, you don't know your job. The principles that underpins your job to inform. Because you see, for democracy to work, then we need to forge a culture, a certain political culture. And one of the key players in the formation of that culture is the media.
Anyway,
I keep on telling people, we are doing things. Alan is doing things, but they've blacked him out. Because some people, I'm damn sure, and I don't have any evidence, but I believe that people have paid them.
They've commercialized them.
Yeah, that they should black him out.
Well, but they don't use.
And
they need money to run the stations.
But doesn't mean you defeat your
Pan Africa also needs money, not so.
We do.
Yeah, but you are the best, in my opinion. You are the best in this country because you are guided. In fact, you are very committed to the principles that underpins your job as a media house. That's to inform, to educate, to entertain.
We are trying. That's why we don't get adverts.
but you don't get adverts because of the weakness in this economy.
Yeah.
Let Alan vote Alan as president.
Let him transform. Don't let people think that.
Listen to what I'm saying. Vote Alan to be president. Let him transform the economy. And you get that. And let's pass anti-trust laws. Because when you pass anti-trust laws, because they can't do monopoly, then rather they must. It's anti-trust laws. It forces into your laps. It forces into your laps. People will run to you. I bet.
Legislative instrument of MP's siren withdrawn. I think I won't allow Senior to comment on that because it's already But you've commented on that already.
Oh, let me say about the small.
So I'm letting you start.
Let me to comment.
What is more?
I was small comment.
That powerful moment that you
I don't comment.
Okay. Tomorrow. Let's proceed. So,
let's get the context from him now.
See, this airline issue.
This must have been. I knew that I was finding I was putting myself in trouble when I saw the two of you. I knew that.
So this airline issue, I've been monitoring the comments and listening to colleagues and even general public for the past 1 week, as far as especially when it comes to the MPs aspect. I've heard some, section of the public or the media or the ruling government trying to say that it is the opposition MPs that are proposing that. That is not true. That is one thing about the hypocrisy about our politics in this country. Your government decided to introduce an airline, and there's a clause that says that judges and then ministers of state. No, the airline didn't capture the MPs.
Oh, in the beginning.
In the beginning. So the airline is presented to Parliament. No, it's not like. So the airline says ministers. And so the question is, if you say a minister, what is the difference between a minister and an MP? Do you understand? You are a minister of state. I am a member of Parliament. And then people say that, why would you want to introduce something like that? Then take it out. Or take the ministers out. If you are not taking the ministers out, then include the MPs too. Because we see ourselves as equal. And that is it. You are a minister of state. Article 71 office holder. I am also a member of Parliament. Exactly. So that was the argument. And then our side. No, so even that no, it's not. I'm coming, Kwame. Some of us, I honestly, personally, it is not something I support. I have a siren in my vehicle. There's no two ways. I won't use it in Accra. And I have never coming here. That is why I got here. This program starts at 8. Ask blessed. By 7:10, I was here. I left home. I know certainly there will be traffic. So if I want to get to a place early, I must leave early. So I shouldn't say because I'm a member of Parliament, I can just be at home and wake up at the time that I feel like waking up. Then I'll put on silent plane. No, the other people also on the street, we are equal. We are the same people. And so I honestly do not even support that. So now it was a banter between MPs and ministers. And now you come out to say that it is the minority MPs as led by Honorable Dominica Yini. He introduced it. No, it is not true. You brought an ally saying that your ministers, so what important job are they doing that they should be given the chance to be using salary when they are going, and the speed limit, they should not have a speed limit? Yes, I agree. I agree with some of my colleagues. I heard one of the MPs spoke on City Eyewitness News last 3 days saying that is a deputy majority whip. Honorable Alestete trying to justify and said one of our MPs nearly lost his life when he was rushing to Parliament. Parliament had been closed. Nobody asked you to leave. And you knew we had important, businesses, certainly that would lead to voting. And so if you decide to absent yourself from Parliament and then your people were putting pressure on you to appear at that material woman you were rushing, and if you were there, I don't think these are avoidable things. So there's no way we can justify this. I don't support it. And it's not something that you can imagine 200. And they say, when they say the signing, they are not saying we should put it. But even though, whichever way, I do not support it. But if you want.
Is that an official justification on the record?
That
why they would want this arrangement?
So that's what I'm saying. I am saying that I don't support it. But the justification they were putting when they brought the airline from Ministry of Transport, saying that ministers should be given because of the nature of their jobs. Sometimes they have to attend meetings at 3 meetings at 3 different places. You are probably at Labadi attending a meeting, and 30 minutes time you have to be at ministry attending a meeting. You have to be at, and so they should be given that, that kind of right, so that they can use the siren when they leave and all of that. And then someone also said that MPs also attend committee meetings. I can be in Kofredia attending a committee meeting, or I can be in I can even be in Kumasi. Probably we are a site visitation. At that site, if you are needed at Parliament, you have to return back immediately to come and participate in voting and all of that. And that was why Dominic also said, Honorable Dominic also said, if this is your justification, this is his also justification about the MPs. If you are not adding the MPs, then take the ministers to out. That was it. It is not something the MP just decided that let's put it.
It's not about whether we're adding the MPs or we're taking them out, or we brought. Is it relevant? Is it necessary?
It's not necessary.
Yeah, so the whole bill should have been thrown out.
It is not the whole bill. It is a portion of it. It's this.
So remove those.
So that's why the minority said that particular clause to be expunged from the bill. You realize that the whole bill has even been withdrawn. So it was not something. And you see, politics, they are now trying to push it on opposition members of Parliament.
When was it laid?
So now you want to have first-class citizens.
When was it laid?
I think about 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And so yes, it was 2 weeks ago that it was laid.
So right now we are saying that what? So now are they still going to go ahead with it?
No, it has been withdrawn.
So now no more siren.
Yes, we said yesterday minority issued a statement saying that.
Can I ask a question?
And you see, let me tell you. Before you ask me a question, even the bill had not reached the time that we would even have the opportunity to debate. Do you get
I
it?
agree. I'm saying that the 275 MPs, you people sitting there, do you think about the Ghanaian people?
I mean, don't sit.
No, I'm asking a question.
We think about the Ghanaian people.
You think about
it is the nature of our democracy that makes you think. I'm coming.
Yeah.
It is the nature of our democracy that makes you think that the MPs do not actually think about the Ghanaian people. We do. If you take your time.
So you think about the Ghanaian people?
We do.
You sat in Parliament and allowed e-levy to pass.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Please, I'm coming. That's why I use the word nature.
Don't come.
I am saying that the nature of our democracy, Parliament should have been independent from executive.
Okay.
Then you have Parliament, members of Parliament who are supposed to be checking executives that are part of executive. The same person who is supposed to be checking executive, they are part of. I'm coming. They are part of executive.
Does that prevent the members of Parliament from doing their Parliament?
Exactly. Please, I'm coming. Kwame, you're asking me a question. Let me explain to you. Let me explain.
I want to understand it.
So it prevents. For instance, you, Kwame, the position you are occupying, if you are a member of Parliament, at the same time a Minister of Finance, you are part of executive, and you have a responsibility as member of Parliament to be checking same executive you are part of. Executive is implementing a policy through you, the Minister of Finance, who is also double as member of Parliament, who is supposed to be checking. No matter how bad the policy, you, that particular MP, because you are part of the system, you cannot fight it.
Okay.
And that is why I say that it is the nature. Is this the nature of our democracy, or is it the nature of the governance system in this country? If Parliament can be separated, if you are a member of Parliament, you are not going to be part of how do you call it?
How many ministers?
Even that. Even that.
We're having a nice conversation.
Yes.
We're educating our viewers, including myself. I don't know. I want to ask.
How many
members of Parliament or how many ministers must come out from them?
They even say per the Constitution. You are a lawyer.
No,
by the Constitution, it's even supposed to be more than 60%. You can imagine if you are having 60%.
It's just this majority of the ministers.
No, it's supposed to be 60%. 60% of your appointees must come from Parliament. The ministers.
Majority of them.
It could be 50 point.
Whatever it is. Okay, you let me grant you that.
Okay, grant us even 50%.
Yes, no problem. I'll grant you that.
50. I'm even saying even if it is 50.
Majority.
Don't even add it 0.01. So it means that even if you are appointing 60 MPs, 30 of them must come from Parliament. So how do you then expect those 30 out of who are part of the system?
But you see, you are even taking the win out of my system. Okay, all right. So 30 out of 275.
30 out of the 275.
So let me even grant that the 30 MPs have decided that they don't even want to work as parliamentarians.
Thank you.
Again,
thank you.
Let me grant them.
Yes, so you are right.
So what are you saying?
No, please. Let's go with the conversation. You said 30 out of the 75. 275. Yesterday. It is not only that, is only the ministers who yesterday we just read that the majority leader has been appointed board chair of ECG, majority whip, deputy whip, Honorable Habib Idrisu has also been appointed a board. So several of those appointments are also part. Who are board members? Who are board chairmen?
They also
are members of Parliament.
Hold on.
So
is it not saying executive?
Hold on.
Is that not
yesterday? The reason why I'm asking this question is because yesterday we had only 24. Hold on, honorable, please. I don't want to get upset.
No, you are not.
Yesterday,
this is a very
no. So because you see, when we are discussing some of these matters, I get emotional and upset at the same time.
Exactly.
Don't get emotional.
Allow emotional. Allow us to be emotional,
and then I will let him be emotional. But I just want to tease out the relevant.
Analyze the conversation.
Yesterday we had only 24 members of Parliament on the floor out of 270.
I think tell you something. If you say 24, that was last 3 days.
Whatever it is.
So let me tell you what normally happened.
Okay, fine.
We decided. No, you asked me a question. Let me explain to you. I am a member of Parliament, happen to be part of minority.
Yeah.
And if you check, you can go to Parliament and check. Most of the times, it is always we, the minority side, that are always.
You are 24.
I'm coming. It's not, if you say 24. We were there. I was going to take proceedings.
I'm not saying you were.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not talking about. Many of them were there. Because we were Parliament. So you can be.
Which Parliament?
Let me tell you something. You asking me a question, Kwame. Asking me a question. I'm a member of Parliament. You are government business. You decide to go and follow Napo. You're running me somewhere. Somebody is following Dr. Mahmoud Baumia somewhere. And you will expect we minority MPs to come and sit and form quorum to do government business. We also, I'm coming. The reason why we got the 24 coming.
On the basis of that. No, relax. Don't be, relax.
When you allow me, don't be angry. I'm not getting angry. When you allow me, go ahead. Then we decide that it is your government business, right? And I'm coming. Majority must lead the government business. Do you understand? It is majority that must lead. So few of you are there. We should come and sit and form a quorum. And when you sit, if it is a major decision taking day, you will see there was someone where even if you are in US, they will hire a private jet to go and bring you. But if it's any normal day, that has nothing to do with major decision. Do you understand? If we are there on that day on our numbers and they have one person, you cannot take any decision that will go in favor of the general public, because it depends on the everyday and the businesses we are coming to do. Because the business statement will stipulate, will indicate what we'll be doing next week. So they know next week there will not be any major, if it has to do with a vote with regards to a particular thing. Even if people are in US, they will rent flights to go and bring them. But because it is not any important business to them, they are with their running mates, they are with the leader of their party campaigning. And we also said, we went and we said, okay, if this is what you want to, we are also going, but we decide not to go into the chamber. And so you won't even form quorum to continue with it. And then, any I am say I see. So understand? So they always make sure that their people counts when there's a vote. Their people counts when there will be a head count. Whatever they are doing, marshal and brain. So I'm saying that you appoint many MPs to be part of board. You appoint them to be part of even, executive. They see themselves as part of executive and not members of parliament. So in the end, their core mandate, which is to keep government in check, they rather protect government.
But you see,
so
that is where you are looking at parliament as though parliament is only a session of the majority. Parliament is the collective. 275 members of parliament. Assuming without let's
it's collective. You see it outside collective. But I can tell you that every group, majority group, always see themselves as part of government. That is why it is difficult.
I agree with you. But the minority that is supposed to act as a check even on the majority MPs in Parliament are not doing that. That is why you have, of course, that is why you have the likes of Granny Champon being passed, Howard Crimson being passed, and then they even had majority of the votes from the minority. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that all of you are complicit in this exercise. You can't come and sit here and be telling me that you had 24 people in Parliament because you don't want to sit and do government business. No, allow them to speak. You see, don't go emotional. Don't do that. I know how.
I know one day we'll be in Parliament.
No, come and talk. No, I know.
I'll be a senior.
Let me come to you.
I'm a Manchester leader.
Let me come to senior. I know how I host my show. I tease at me.
I'm good at that.
So senior, you've listened to the honourable member of Parliament. What do you have to say, sir?
He's struggling.
He's struggling. See, Charlie, you let's see. I'll come to you, Michael.
Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Government has failed the people of Ghana. And when I say government, I don't mean the executive. I mean the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. They failed the people of Ghana, and it is evidently clear. But you see, there's something that Subaru said that I think we should take serious, and probably because of, well, there are so many questions. I don't think we have enough time. You understand? But he said the nature of how politics is done in this country makes it practically impossible for Parliament to work, or for government to work. And then because of that nature also, when you have somebody who is a non-leader, then those weaknesses in our constitutions, tends to be highlighted, and that's what has happened under the leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So there are already weaknesses in our constitution, but we have a very bad leader, and because of that, then because of the weakness in the system, the extent to which the system itself can serve as a check and balance on him itself is compromised. Now, when you read our constitution, there's a reason why the constitution says that the executive power is in the hands of the president, one person. It's not in the hands of a body, it's in the hands of the president. And the president can then give those powers to other people. And then the legislative power is in the hands of Parliament. And so, contrary to what we always say, it's not just the duty of the minority to serve as a check on Parliament. It's the duty on Parliament to serve as a check on the executive. You know, when we had a certain discussion here, as in editors, and we agreed that we're going to advance a certain program. So the MPs, whose interests do they protect in Parliament? Do they protect the interests of their political parties, or they protect the interests of their constituents, or the people of Ghana? And when you asked a question that I think you didn't get the answer you wanted, but I stand with the answer you wanted, on offers with the answer you wanted. That do they think about Ghana? And clearly they don't. They don't think about Ghana. So when we are talking about state capture just didn't happen under the watch of Nana Akufo-Addo. State capture has happened throughout the life of our democracy, because a huge majority of the politicians, of people that we give our powers to, are not there to advance our common interests. They are there to advance their parochial interests. And I think this issue of the LI highlights it. It brings this issue to the fore. Because under the watch of my opinion, one of the best presidents we've had, I always say that in my view, the best president we've had is Kufuor. But I think at Amos Brown, very, very close. And one thing that the both of them had is what their truest intentions were. The two of them, they were patriots. Yeah, Atamos was his focus was Ghana, and so he tried pushing this rapid
mass transit system,
of course, which we need. President also started,
yeah.
And Atamos
Metro mass transport.
In fact, even took it to a different level.
Yeah.
Because Kwame, we need that. Yeah.
I think even Mahama continued at some point. Mahama even did Ayalulu. Yeah.
No, but Ayalulu wasn't rapid rapid to have a rapid rapid response. So what Mahama did is simply what I've always been saying. So he tried to just bring the buses. But what Atamus was doing was a very comprehensive one. The solution is not just in the buses. But to have dedicated,
they created
yes.
the lanes and
you see, when it comes between Mahama and Nanado, it becomes an issue of who is the lesser of the two evils. And so Mahama is the lesser of the two evils. Yeah, son. But please, it's my time. No, I'll give you 1 minute. You went up and down. Oh, I beg you. You are impacting the flow, my flow of thought. It's not right. Yeah, understand. Because see, that piecemeal attempt at solving problems wouldn't help us. We need to deal with problems. We need to deal with them comprehensively. Yeah, so yes, maybe probably Mama so he brought buses, but that wasn't dealing with the problem. That's why the problem is still there. You see that the problem is we need to create a system that can rapidly, in a very quick way, send a lot of Ghanaians to the city center
and back.
Yeah, you understand. And that's why Atanos felt that we needed to have a very comprehensive program. And indeed, in my view, even central to the program is a fundamental decentralization exercise. Because when you go outside, you know that the mayors, they handle their metros. When I say their metros, their tram system and all. Now, this problem has come to the fore. You are in Parliament, and then the Minister of Transport, you are supposed to then prefer a solution to clearly a problem with traffic and as in how slow or how we struggle to get to the business center. Now, you have a constitution that is premised on certain principles. One of the central principles of our democracy is the rule of law. And one of the of the principles that underpins the concept of the rule of law is the equality of all people before the law. And understanding that Michael's job is as important as my job, and our job is as important as your job. And so if you think that because you are MP, and really you are a servant, minister, you are a servant. What's the meaning of minister? You are a servant. Then it means that it means from what it tells me is that they don't even understand their job. Because they think that they are there to be served by us. Because that argument is lame. No, please don't. Because that argument, Subaru, and I'm telling you this in my mind, even the president isn't better than me.
Of course.
The president isn't better than me.
He's a servant.
I think we're all human beings. The Nado isn't better human being than me. Yeah, you understand? And so immediately the premise for why you want to pass a certain law, or why you want to give yourself the right, the excuse to breach the law, that causes all of us, is because you think your work is more important than anybody's work. Then that thinking is even flawed in the first place. And you see, it's not enough that they withdraw. Sometimes Ghana here, we give small pressure, so you have withdrawn. And because you think you've withdrawn, we should leave you. We need to start questioning the mettle of the people we put in, saying, no, I don't want you to help me. When we meet at our base, you can help me. But today, don't interject the flow of my thinking.
No, let him flow.
Yeah, understand? Then we the people, the repository of governmental powers, because it emanates from us. Then we need to start questioning the people we've placed there. That thinking. Mm-hmm. That thinking, please, I don't like this. I don't like this. I think when you're talking, I agree with everything you say.
Proceed. Honorable, please. Let's have.
Yeah, you see, then we the people need to question the thinking of the people we place there. Because, like I'm saying, in my view, governments in this country are failing the people. We are where we are because of weak governments. Governments whose focus is not the people. You understand?
Absolutely.
Governments whose focus, what fuels them, what drives them, is not the people. It was my brother here gave a fantastic example. Go and kidnap an American, and you see the power of the government of America. And clearly that's a government that is dedicated to the well-being of every single American. But here we even lack basic integrity, because our president took an oath to dedicate. But the executive, which is under his watch, the way our governance structure is the LIs is because the LI emanated from the Ministry of Transport. Not so. The LI emanated from the Ministry of Transport. Not so. Emanated from the executive. And so the executive will attempt to push through this LI, whose focus clearly is an LI that is flawed not by dedication to the people, because like I said, it's similar to the cement issue. Then you have a problem. You, the minister, why don't you use the power of your policy and the laws to find ways of advancing this rapid mass? Or is it because Atamus was the one who's pushing it and his NDC, so then you must kill it? But then when Atamus was president, he was the president of Ghana. He was not the president of MPP. Sorry, of NDC. You understand? So, for me, I know we don't have time. I think Michael has a lot to say too. It is clear to me. It is clear, and I'm fortified in that belief, that unless the people of this country stand up and realize the power they wield to force government, to control government, to use the powers that we give them to advance our common agenda, then government will continue to misbehave to the detriment of each and every single one of us. The time when we slept, when we are asleep, should cease now. Ghana should rouse from their sleep, wake up, and hold government, cause government, force government to use the powers we have given them to pursue our collective agenda. If the political parties won't do that, because really that's their duty. If the media, if majority of the media will cause themselves to be enablers of bad government, then we don't have a choice with the people but to wake up, be alive, and dedicate ourselves, our time, to cause government to do right by us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Apia Dankwa. Kwame, good morning. I'm always grateful to God when I see you hosting the morning show. Can you really hit on the SNIT issue, because I'm retiring this November. Oh, Mr. Udro, my JHS teacher. Mr. Udro, good morning to you, Mr. Udro. There's no time, but I will try. Hi, host. Why should MPs have preferential treatment when they are responsible for the bad laws and wrong policies, responsible for our economic woes, killer taxes, fake health insurance, pension haircuts, bad roads, poor salaries, cancelling of road tolls, failed SHS, and ill-equipped hospitals and schools? They don't patronize themselves. MPs must be ready to have a taste of the bad policies they impose on us without nagging, because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You know, last time, this reminds me of a position I long held, and I'm coming to you, in relation to how we take decisions, right? So a friend of mine was saying that when our roads are bad, they don't feel it, so they don't pass laws to address that, because they use V8. When we don't have water, they are able to do mechanized boreholes in their homes, so they fill their poly tanks, so they don't feel it. When we have light off, or we are experiencing doom, so they don't feel it, because some of them have generators and solar systems and things like that. Exactly. Yes, when we are not well, they will travel. So so the educational system, they don't care. Precisely, GIS and BIS and all those ones. So it appears that is what is. So they don't really appreciate everybody. Government, you people are part of it. Please let me.
No, Kwame. Just a minute.
No, let me come to Michael.
I want you to correct
I won't be fair to Michael.
No, I'm not talking. I just want you to correct the person. He says that MPs are. How can I be responsible for free SSS policy implementation and all that? They failed. He mentioned MPs, we make laws with all those things and all. It's government. That's the mistake people have. Road network is MP. I have always been, even I use your platform, Kwame, to always speak about the bad roads in Nsala. We're trying to make several statements in the floor of the house.
All right. You
heard the Minister for Roads and Highways who mounted the podium and said that no NDC MP can come to him for his roads to be constructed. And so if they vote for the independent candidate, he said that at Ejuso. So that's what I was talking about, the system. It is the system. So, and I should be held responsible for my roads.
Okay.
No budget allocation for MP to construct those things.
All right.
So
this one, you see, when you are sending the messages and you make it quite
All right,
lengthy.
so-
It's difficult for me to read it. So yeah, let me come to Michael.
Kwame, you know, it
About
is
7 minutes. Yeah.
it is very difficult to know sometimes how a man thinks than to only observe his actions and his conduct. That at least gives you an inkling or gives you an idea, a cue, as to what that person may be thinking about or what his imaginations are. You know, I asked Honorable when this particular LI was laid in Parliament, and he said just 2 weeks ago. And you know, 2 weeks ago, we were having discussions about the SNIT issue and the purported takeover of the SNIT hotels by Brian. 2 weeks ago, the entire system was being hit up. 2 weeks ago, clearly Ghanaians have not been and are still not happy with the Akufo-Addo government. And yet, 2 weeks ago, government, the executive still thinks we can create a class system with, regardless of what was still happening. At least it gives me, even if in its entirety, an iota of, Charlie, we've been disregarded.
Charlie.
I mean, there is no conscience. What happened to the pulse of the nation? What happened to testing that pulse, at least? What happened to reflection? Just 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I'm sure the Kenyan route was still on, the demonstrations.
Yeah, it's been on for a while.
And there have been all manner of posts on Facebook everywhere
You even had
that Ghanaians should rise up.
We had members of parliament from Ghana there.
2 weeks ago.
They were there.
And still, the executive, no cue from happenings, from development. It tells me that, listen, we've been abandoned. It tells me that there is a dereliction of duty. It tells me that whatever oath Nana Akufo-Addo and his vice, Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, may have taken to the extent of protecting the interest and thinking about the welfare of Ghanaians is just a mirage. And because with all these things happening 2 weeks ago, you still would want to create a class system. And to say ministers, when a president in Kenya stepping down cabinet ministers, and we all knew what was happening. You must be crazy in your head, excuse me. You must be numb to the realities of the day. Or you must, fellow Ghanaians, this is the state of Ghana today. This is the state of Ghana today. If you were in your home or in the family, issues happening here and there, problems here and there, and you know a particular action of yours may possibly compound issues, common sense will tell you that, listen, let me pause on this. Even if I would want to take this particular action, the timing, and you think it was any surprise? And sometimes I wonder, so you think as a running mate, going to meet the family of Kwame Nkrumah, to apologize for the very unfortunate
the vitriol.
And that should suffice. Then you have a little understanding of who Kwame Nkrumah is. You think going to apologize to the family, that's enough? This guy should be resigning from this position of VIP candidate. This, you see, and the thought of wanting another 10, the thought of coming to Ghanaians and say, regardless of all these, still vote for us. Council mentioned something, and I may depart from council's thinking on that and his position. Of course, council attempted comparing Mills's era to that of Kufuor. And we all know the fact is that Mills had less than a term. Kufuor enjoyed 2 terms. And then when council got to HEJDM and the current president, he mentioned that they are a lesser of two evils. But I think that may even be blasphemy in the literature of democracy. And you know why? Between the two, let's forget economic fundamentals. There has been an attack on our democracy today, which I am sure incomparable. I mean, the extent and the brazen confidence with which the government of Nana Akufo-Addo has attacked our governance architecture, the democracy we've all accepted unto ourselves.
7 minutes has expired.
The extent.
I agree with your position.
The extent.
I agree with the democracy part. So you terrorism as well.
No, but Ghanaians must know and must react this.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. 7 minutes now, so
Changing electoral commissioner.
Thank you.
Look at the fraudulent processes.
Thank you, Michael. Michael vexed this morning, man.
Bruising the soul of Ghana.
True that.
Ghana has been weeping every day under Akufo-Addo.
Thank you very much, Council.
I see Ghana as I see the scars, the bruises of Ghana today.
I agree. I mean, thank you very much, incoming Council. Thank you very much, Senior. And Honorable, thank you very much for your time this morning. I also, viewers are saying that, what about you? Disturbing you this morning.
I was disturbing me.
It's too
You people, when it comes to MPs, I like the way the media actually.
No, but by the time it's
from Ernest to Elizabeth, your smile alone is a solace. Honorable, can you read the message?
The youth
from Ernest Honorable.
You see the problem?
From Ernest to Elizabeth, your smile alone is a solace. Mommy, may God bless your new age and elevate you to the highest level of prosperity, grace, and divine protection. Happy birthday. And the guy said, please kindly do it for me. I've done it for you. Thank you very much. On that note, we call it a day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.